Welcome back, guys, to 3171's podcast. This is Tim.
And I'm Jody.
And we're going to be talking about how to limit screen time and promote healthy habits today. So let's jump into it and talk about what is going on with technology.
Today. I mean, it's just everywhere, right? Yeah. Everyone's on the phone. You're waiting, just a little bit, maybe in a doctor's office or somewhere, and they're on their phones.
Yeah.
Or you're driving and you're like, why is this person being a little erratic? A lot of times they're on their phones. So it's just, phones are everywhere.
Yeah, and as you see things, new systems coming into the workplace and at the stores, even like at the grocery stores, you see all these self-checkouts now. You don't have employees working at the stores. So now it's more just everything's technology, and I think it's a good thing and bad thing. But
what are some of the good things that you think?
The good things about technology is that we are able to connect with people across the world.
Yeah, my 92-year-old grandma has a Facebook account. Sometimes it gets a little dicey, but yeah, she can see pictures of our kids and what we're up to, and we can communicate with her because she doesn't live close by. So I mean, it's really good for connecting with people.
In some ways, yeah.
Yes.
What do you think is good about technology?
I mean, it can speed up different things. I mean, come on, we all probably buy from Amazon. We can get on, we can order whatever we want. It can be at our door. We have that. It's increased convenience, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is that necessarily the best thing? Yeah. What do you think about that? Increased convenience in our line of work isn't always the best.
Yeah, I think the bad that I see in it is really just how much it consumes us. We could spend so much time on our phones and on technology, on social media, and we lose track of time, and we can't get back that time.
Yeah, that's really good.
And it's just constant pleasure, I mean, that quick instant gratification that you get from different reels, the funny reels or the funny TikToks.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's just wasting time.
Right.
Unless you're building a business like we're building an online business. But if you're wasting so much time and it's affecting different areas of your life, then that's definitely definitely not good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think there's a lot of times there are people that will say, I don't have time to go to I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
Well, if you really sit down and look at how much time you're spending on social media or in that funny reel tunnel where you just I cannot get out of it sometimes, you would see that you probably have quite a bit more time than what you think you do because you're spending it wasting. So that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
But convenience wise, we don't need to really. There's not a lot of struggle. There's not a wait time. There's no
there's not much
boredom anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that it actually is impacting our social skills because yes, we are on our phones in lines and we're not being social with other people. And I do it myself too. I do that.
Yeah, no, it totally is. I mean, I think, like you said, you kind of avoid. You can avoid talking to people. You can avoid doing responsibilities. You can avoid, it becomes almost this acceptable way to avoid life,
reality.
Right? Yeah, to avoid reality. And I think there have been some studies out there where depression is kind of on the rise because people aren't interacting because we're all sitting behind our phones or our computers.
Yeah.
And we consider that our interaction time, especially with younger generations, and they're not creating real friendships.
And the thing is, I think that it puts us in a comparison mindset or perspective when we're seeing other people, let's say you're just a single guy and you're at home and you're seeing families out there married and having kids. It really kind of puts you in a funk because you're like, well, I don't have that, and I'm kind of like, am I just a loser? But no, it's just hard to have that because there's good and bad to technology and social media, really.
Yeah. And we know that everything we see isn't real. Everything we read isn't real. It's really easy to make something fake look real on social media or on the internet. And so I think that it's really important with raising a family that we are these tips, that we have for you guys today, it's really important to put these in place, because you have your children that are growing up and seeing these things and thinking that maybe this image they see of a woman or a man is real, and that's what they should be aspiring to, when that's not reality. Or whatever it might be. There's just a lot of fake stuff on there, and we need to protect our kids from that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's why our first tip is that really set a schedule.
Yeah, so we allow our daughter to have screen time on her tablet. So she does have a tablet, but we restrict that to just an hour a day. So, a lot of times now that it's summer, she's asking me for more time, but I won't, give her more time, because that's really, it's important to stick to that schedule, because we don't need her spending more and more and more and more time. We also know what app she has, those kinds of things. So there's parental restrictions on the technology that she has.
At the beginning of the year, we bought a lockbox because last year it was just a little rough with me being on the phone and just us being on the phone with our business.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was not being present with the family. So I bought that, and we started out really well.
Yeah.
And then we started getting complacent with it, because, I don't need the lockbox anymore, because I'm doing pretty well. And then eventually it started to come back in my hands, and I just noticed that it now is still affecting our family now, because our kids are telling us, like, hey, put your phones down.
Yeah, so like, if you can't make it a habit for yourself, implementing these tools like the lockbox to help you create those boundaries is really important, because, as a spouse, you don't want to keep telling your spouse, hey, put down your phone, hey, put down your phone, hey, because that's going to become a nagging kind of annoyance. So if you have that, you agree to it, and both phones go into the box, with the ability to get it out should you have an emergency, or whatever. But yeah, so that's what we do. So after dinner really is when we put our phones away and have family time.
At the beginning, when we first did this, I remember like those emotions that I felt. I was so attached to my phone that I was kind of getting antsy and kind of anxious.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, that's an addiction. That's an addiction to our phones, and that's not a good that's not a good habit to have.
Right.
I just realized that it needed to change. I needed to change that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be attached to anything like that. So yeah, I don't know if you felt anything like that during.
Oh yeah. Anytime I think I've left my phone somewhere, or when we did put it in the box. I mean, I think for a little bit. When I'm at home, I think I'm okay not being. But like, I mean, I'm sure if any of you have ever left your phone at home and gone to work, it's like this. You don't have it, and it wasn't that long ago where we just had house phones, y'all. We didn't have the cell phones. So we were leaving. We were driving without a phone. And for some reason now.
We were outside.
Right.
All the time.
We ran around. I ran around my hometown. Like, I was on the other side of town, like playing in a dilapidated old house. I didn't have a cell phone. No one tracked my GPS. But now we just feel like we have to have it. I think because we have it available to us so easily.
Yeah. And I think I remember my parents would send us out for the whole entire day.
Oh, yeah.
Outside and
don't come back till dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but those were the best times, because we were outside in nature, we were out playing around, and we were enjoying time with my brothers. I was enjoying time with my brothers and my siblings. So things have changed.
Right.
So.
Right. And that kind of leads us into tip number 2. We designate tech-free zones. So outside is really a big one for us. So when we go outside, like, our daughter wants to take her tablet
we
want
want
to
take our phones
We do too, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And sometimes having music, I think that's a different, because we all enjoy music, so having that out there. But, we don't want to be just sitting in the hammock swinging and scrolling, or having her on a game or whatever while we're outside. So we try to be present in nature as much as possible.
And even at dinner too, we remove the phones from the dinner table. We all need to be sitting down. Like for me, I need to make sure that our kids are all here eating dinner together and doing it the way it used to be without technology and interacting with one another. And
even if we don't have questions, we play, I think, Would You Rather Like that's when our daughter loves to play. So even if it's just a silly game because you've already talked about the day, like it's just something that kind of brings us together. And sometimes we sit down and she's like, okay, Papa, would you rather? And you're just like, all right, that's how dinner's going to go. But it's something that we all do together. And even with our 2-year-old, I mean, you can kind of see he knows that there's times for conversation, right? Where we need to be present with each other. Because even though he doesn't have all the words, sometimes he's very loud because everyone else is talking and he needs to be a part of it too. So I think when you remove those barriers from conversation that technology often leads to, then you can really be one with each other, be present, and get to know each other more, which is super important.
So let's go move on.
Yeah.
Outdoor activity, playtime, right?
Yeah.
So we love the outdoors, and we just know the benefits of what being outside does for our mental state and our physical state too, and just having that sunshine and on our face or whatever, we get that vitamin vitamin D,
and then the dirt between our toes, which Tim has now started doing some grounding, everybody. So he's barefoot in the dirt, which has taken me a while to get him to my hippie status, but yeah, I mean, nature just does wonders. I mean, I even just like to ask the kids, like, how many birds can you hear chirping, like just to get them present kind of in nature. And I do think it's speaking of nature, there's a gnat. So I do think that we do allow some technology. So our daughter does have a watch, but that allows her to have more freedom outside in nature and in the neighborhood because, I mean, I do think nowadays you still have to know where your kids are at.
Right? Yeah. Right. You can't just let your kids go out.
Right. So, so I think that's our way of saying, hey, you're too young for a phone because we don't want her to have access to everything on a phone. Yeah. But we still allow her to have that where she can call us, we can call her. She has a couple other family member contacts, and then, we can see where she's at, and it gives us some peace of mind to have that. So that's one area where I think technology for kids kind of comes in handy.
Yeah, and I think that's very helpful, making sure that she's safe. So
yeah,
that's why we decided to go with that route instead of getting her a cell phone. So
yeah, because we don't want to keep her inside. We don't want to keep our kids because we feel like some fear or something. Yeah. We want them to be able to explore. So there are ways of using technology to keep them safe.
Talk about what you're doing outside now. You've started a garden. Right?
Yeah,
what have you been trying these last few years?
Yes, it's been a struggle the last couple of years with having the newborn, and the weather's been weird. But this year, God willing, we're going to have some produce out there. Yep. So I'm really excited. I'm nerdy excited. I got containers, and so we're just out there in the evenings and just looking at the plants and weeding, and Eli's trying to dig up worms even though it hasn't rained for a very long time. So just trying to encourage that with our kids and just to understand be outside
more and just enjoy it.
I mean, there's just a lot of things you can do outside and it's not, it's not a big use of time. It's not a big, budgetary thing. Just, if you have space outside, just get your family out there and enjoy it. Yeah. T-ball, soccer.
We played some T-ball.
T-ball, soccer. We've got fire pit. There's a lot of different things that we do. Yeah. To try to be outside.
Yeah, and I think the more you go outside, the more happy you're going to be, right? And that's a lot of research and studies have shown that. So definitely get outside, enjoy that nature, enjoy the sunshine, because soon enough winter is going to be here, and it's going to get darker, and we're not going to have that nice weather again.
Yeah. So I think hopefully these 3 tips have been helpful for you guys. If you have any other questions, please, comment down below, send us a message, either one of us on our socials, even though we tell you not to be on it right now. You can contact us that way. Check us out at 317wellness.com. We got some free resources for you there as well.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Peace.
See ya.